What's up, you guys? Y'all see it? We have arrived. This has been such a long awaited, overdue series on my channel, and I don't know if it was just more me overthinking, probably, but I was like, do I want to share my stories, my past stuff, or do I just want to just leave it in the past and just move on with life? But y'all, when I tell y'all, some of my stories are very real TV worthy, okay? So I'm gonna share a few. But I wanted to, a majority of my story times are going to stem from when I lived in Florida in my 20s, my early mid 20s. And I was going to jump right in and just go ahead and give y'all the juicy ones. But I was like, we're going to go ahead and slow walk this thing. So we're going to start when I arrived, like how I arrived to Florida. So we'll start from the beginning. Now, the name of the series, we're gonna just go ahead and title it Head Bonnet Chronicles with Chrissy J, because I really don't feel like beating my face and getting all dolled up to tell you guys some ish and some mistakes and some dumbness that I had did back, yonder. So I figured a head bonnet and some lip gloss is good enough, honey. Period. Okay, so y'all might go ahead and get a different head bonnet here and there or whatever the case is, but that's what we're working with. Okay. So if you're new to my channel, go ahead and click on that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any more uploads, honey, because you're going to absolutely love it here. And if you are a returning subscriber, y'all know the drill, y'all know the mess. Welcome back to another video. Don't play with it, don't be dishonest. Still not understanding. So y'all, I did a poll on my community tab. Shout out to the 3 or 2 who voted. Like, what's going on, y'all? Come on with it. Like, come on. I be putting stuff out because I want to talk to you guys that way. But anywho, it was on my community post, and I got a story time. But I've been getting story time requests for a while, and also like whenever I tell stories to my girlfriends and stuff, they be like, girl, like they be so into it. Because it be real life TV. I'm just like, oh my gosh, was that my life? How ghetto. But anyhow, we're gonna go ahead and start this story time off with how I was, just trying to change some things and made a move to Florida, and it was a rough start. If y'all know anything about Florida, especially in the Fort Lauderdale area, it is just home of American greed for real, and headquarters of con artists. They're probably right up under Atlanta. Okay, so I moved in. I was in a relationship for a very long time. We were engaged or whatever. But I think, honestly, we were just young, But, when you're in it, you're just like, oh, I'm ready for love. I'm ready for marriage. I'm ready for this and that and third, whatever. So we were engaged. And then towards the latter part of the relationship, and probably throughout it, honey, okay, he was cheating. And he would drop me off at work, go get out with his little fling thing, and do them, pick me up from work late and everything else, okay? And so I found out he was cheating. He was hollering at girls at the gym. It was just a whole bunch of mess going on. So I just wanted out. I wanted a new start altogether. And I was like, you know what? I'm out of here. Like, I packed up everything. I had a really good job at the time. Very good job. I worked for an investment firm. And I was like young, really good job. And I was like, I'm leaving it all. Like, I didn't care about anything. I just wanted to feel whole again. Like, I just felt like I was just shattered in a million pieces. And I felt like he was just at some point in time in the relationship playing in my face and was just holding on to me for longevity. But I feel like during the span of our entire relationship, he was still truly in love with his high school sweetheart, which is who he ended up marrying anyway, right? So but yeah, it probably was a friendship that never should have transitioned into a relationship, because we were like the best of friends, just how we were. But neither here nor there. We were together for about 10 years. And I wanted to get a break. I was just like, I need a fresh start. I want to get out of here. Went to Miami for my sister's birthday 1 year. And then fell in love with the vibes. And then my cousin picked me up from Miami. I hung out with her in Fort Lauderdale area. We went riding on motorcycles and stuff, and it was just a really good time. I was just intrigued by the palm trees, the beaches, the sun, just the whole like Caribbean feel. And I'm like, this is where I need to be. Like, I just resonated with it, right? So I came back home, put things in motion, hit up my aunt, and I was like, hey, I want to move down there, you know. And my aunt wasn't playing. She was like, if you move down here, you got 30 days. I was like, dang, 30 days? So I'm like, 30 days is no time to get into, you know, like a new state where you don't really know anyone and get your feet wet, get a job, get a place, you know. It was just, you know, whatever. Y'all gonna hear noise because it's a lot of construction going on, so I apologize. But anyway, so we moved. So anyway, I was in a relationship. I planned on moving by myself. I was leaving him. I was done. I was tired of being played. He was basically messing with like his cousin's best friend, so the whole family was like in on it, knew about it, and I just was kind of like annoyed with people being phony and smiling at my face, knowing what was going on, yada yada. So I put my 2 weeks in at work, and my work was kind enough to be like, you know, you can go ahead and take the 2 weeks and make today your last day, and we'll pay you out for the 2 weeks. And I was like, oh my God, that's so bomb. And that will give me time to like get myself together, you know, pack and do everything I do, get stuff in storage, whatever. So I did that, and I ended up packing up everything, and I let him know I was leaving him. Of course, you know, when you say you want to leave somebody, they want to all of a sudden get themselves together, and they love you so much, and they're sorry that they did this, that, and the third. Okay, well, I was young, I was dumb. That was all. He was all I knew. He was my comfort zone, and so I was like, well, probably would be better going down there with him, because I don't know anybody there other than my cousin who works like crazy, and my aunt. And so I was like, maybe this will be a new start for both of us. You know, if he's willing to move out of the state with me, then maybe this is, you know, what we're supposed to be doing, or whatever. If he's willing to just up and leave and not mess with her no more, then she ain't nothing to him no way. You know how y'all be just be pumping ourselves up. Okay, so I was doing that, and we ended up packing up everything and moving down. Oh Lord. So it was like, jobs down there, especially like in your early 20s, they don't pay nothing. It's a lot of like flim fly by night jobs, here today, gone tomorrow. And we were just kind of like getting whatever job we could get, you know, just to kind of get some money in our pockets. We even went as far as to sell bottles of water, which is like a Baltimore thing, right down there at the traffic lights, and we were running through cases of water like nothing. We were selling a bottle of water for $1. Like, they didn't do that down there, which I thought was so crazy. I was like, this is weird. It's hot down here. So we were running through them waters. We were hustlers, so we brought our hustle mentality down there, and we did what we had to do. So now we're down there, we're working, we're coming up on our 30 days to kind of like be at my aunt's house. So we started looking for rooms to rent online. Oh, we came across this post, and it was a couple, and I'm like, okay, well, this is different. Maybe this will work because we're a couple, and that might be a good vibe versus a single person moving in with a couple, right? So we met them. They were really cool. They were around our age. We kind of like were all in the same age group. I think they might have been a year older or younger than us, but not by much. Like, we were all kind of like right in the same. And they seemed really, really cool. She was pregnant, and that was the one thing that I felt was alarming to me. So I was like, I don't know, because if she's pregnant, how is this gonna work? It was a 2-bedroom apartment, so I'm like, how is this gonna work if she's pregnant? And you know, at that point, I'm just thinking like, the baby needs their room, like their own room. You know, how is this gonna work? Not thinking like, when you have a child, the baby really is with you for like the first year almost, right? So they were like, oh no, we're not worried about that. The baby's gonna sleep with us in our room, blah 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 blah, whatever. And I was just like, okay. So we just went over, you know, the expectations of each other. I'm one to always keep food in the house, so I made sure I let them know, like, I like to have food in the house, and when I have food in the house, it's everyone can help themselves to it. And you know, I just felt like it would have been a really, really good vibe with them, and we just kind of all seemed to be getting along during our meet and greet. We were talking about how we can like play cards and stuff and have game nights, and I was like, this might be a real cool type of ordeal. And I felt like it wouldn't be like a party type of house because she's pregnant, so I don't have to worry about them having a whole bunch of friends over, drinking, acting all crazy, you know. Like, we're just all working young adults trying to survive and make life easier. So we move in. We move in, and mind you, we moved down there in a vehicle full of stuff. So most of the stuff we had was just our clothes. We didn't come with any furniture or anything. So we ended up getting like a blow up mattress and some totes, and that's pretty much like what we planned on living out of until, you know, we got ourselves on our feet. But with our income combined, because it was 2 of us, it was a lot easier on us to just go ahead and rent a room. So me and my ex, we're gonna go ahead and call him Ted. We'll call him Teddy. I don't know, Teddy. Me and Teddy ended up getting a job at the same place or whatever, working together. So we're renting this room. We're in there for about a week, and I went grocery shopping. Okay. Now, I told them ahead of time, I like a lot of food in the house. There's always gonna be food in the house. Like, everywhere I live, there's hella food in the house, right? So I went grocery shopping, y'all. Filled up the refrigerator, freezer, pantry. And I didn't get things that I just eat. I got things that they ate. I asked, you know, what things do you guys like? Whatever. And I'm talking about the kitchen was empty. Like, there wasn't no food up in there. And I'm thinking to myself, like, she's pregnant, she need to eat. So filled it up to the brim. Meat galore, everything. Now, during the day, like, I'm in there. Sometimes Teddy would have a shift. Maybe I wasn't working or whatever. So he would be at work, I would be in there. And I would be most of the time in the room. Like, I'm not going to just chill in the living room or nothing like that. I was just kind of like in my room. And I noticed that when we moved in there, the vibes kind of changed. Like, they weren't so friendly. They weren't really talkative to us. It was just very weird. It was like we were living with 2 different people versus the 2 that we met, you know. And so I didn't pay it any mind. I was like, well, maybe they're trying to give us our space. I don't know. But, you know. Next thing we know, out of the clear blue one night, and this was a while ago, y'all, so forgive me because some things are like a little gray, so I don't remember like the exact like terminology or dates and stuff like that. But I know out of the clear blue, they were like, we need to talk to you guys. And so we were like, okay. And I just felt something wasn't right. And I'm like, okay, what now? And the girl was like due in like a month and a half, right? She was just like, yeah, we were just thinking, because, you know, I am pregnant and I'm due to have the baby. We're just thinking maybe we should just go ahead and make you guys room the baby's room. The baby really is going to need their own room, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you wait until we move out my aunt's house, pay y'all a month worth of rent, move our stuff in, fill up the kitchen, honey, with food, okay? To tell us now you want us to move out. And they weren't even giving us like a month. They were like, yeah, we need you guys to move out in like 2 days type of thing. I was like, oh, hell no. Like, that's not gonna work. I was like, no, we're not. Like, I told them straight up, I was like, no, we're not. And so it was like this big ordeal. And I was like, well, then give us our money back. Like, the only way we're leaving out of here is with our money. And I want my money now. Like, right now. And I knew that they didn't have the money. And that's why I was like, I want it now. If you want us out of here, we'll leave tonight. But I want my money. They didn't have it. So we ended up having to call the police because Teddy was temperamental. Like I said, it was a real stressful situation trying to get acclimated down there and get on our feet and hopping, like moving, you know. And at this point in time, we moved out my aunt's house. So we didn't have anywhere else to go but to a hotel. So we were like, this is crazy, you know. So Teddy was about to go off and fight the dude, the male roommate. It was a whole mess. The police were called. The police come and they ended up like saying, you know, whose name is this apartment in, blah, 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 blah. They give a name we ain't never heard of. So I'm like, who is that? Come to find out, the apartment was in the girl's mother's name. And she put it in her name for them because she was pregnant. So it looks like they, I don't even know if they were working or what the issue was, but they weren't really like financially stable. And they were behind on their rent and needed a quick come up. So they put an ad on Craigslist, rented the room out to us just to come up on their rent, and then wanted to put us out. How does that work? And what life does that work in? So the police ended up coming there, getting all the information, and then end up calling the mom. The mom ends up coming there. All this is going on at like almost midnight, y'all. And we're pissed. Like, the mother had no idea who we were. She had no idea about the whole transaction of us being there. The police was basically letting them know, like, it's against the law to sublease. It was just a whole hot mess. And he was like, you guys aren't even supposed to be here because you all are not on the lease. So for you all to not be on the lease and then rent out a room, like, everything in here is all wrong. He was like, if you want to put someone out, all of y'all can get put out. And I was like, dang. So I'm sitting there like, So the police officer was like, and technically they don't have to leave. Like, you could put them out. Like, you need to go to the courthouse and properly get them evicted. And he was like, did they pay you guys? And we said, yeah, we paid them. He asked us how much. I don't remember how much we paid them at that time, but we paid them. It was, I think it was between like $600 or $700. I'm sure we wouldn't have paid more than that for a room. And then the mom was just like, she was pissed off, okay? And she was just like, well, what do you guys want to do? She was like, I can't believe you guys did this, you know, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, we're not even from here. Like, this is a whole hot mess. I got all this food in here. It's midnight. On top of which, we have all of our stuff, our clothes and everything. We cannot fit all of our clothes. Excuse me. I told y'all we have totes now, so we can't fit our totes, our clothes and everything we have, plus all that food, plus us in the car. So I was like, this is crazy. And I'm like, it's almost midnight. Like, I have to work tomorrow. This is absolutely insane. So the mom was like, well, what do you guys want to do? And I was like, I want my money back and I want to move, because at this point in time, we're living with liars. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't tell us any of this. And we're the ones that are, I mean, you know, dealing with the short end of the stick. We have to now find somewhere to live. And I want my money back. And she was just like, okay, so when are you all willing to leave? And I was like, we'll leave in a couple days. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need at least a couple days to figure things out. She was like, oh, no, for sure. I understand. I'm so sorry. Like, the mother was cool. She was just really, really upset. So, so the police was just like, so they're going to go ahead and stay. And let's just say it was a Wednesday. He was like, we're going to give them until Friday to get their stuff. So the mom ended up giving us our money right then and right there. So, you know, she was teed off, okay? And so the next day, I just remember constantly just being on Craigslist, aggressively looking for something. And we ended up finding another room for rent. And it was like with some Africans or Haitians or something. I don't know. The house stunk like hell. It seemed like every room in there was rented. It was a townhouse. It was in the hood of hoods. And it was just not cool with us. I was like, I know for sure they got mice and roaches up in here. Like, I just was not comfortable showering in there. It was just all wrong, okay? It's crazy because I was so uncomfortable in there that I remember not even using the bathroom in there. Like, if I had to, I would. But ooh, y'all, when I tell y'all I would go to a public restroom before I would go to the bathroom in there, because it was like boys was in there. It was a hot mess, y'all. So anyway, we get another job, and we're still at this point working together. So now we're at this job, and we went to lunch break. The teacher was just like, make sure you guys come back on time, blah, 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 blah. And she like stressed coming back on time. So there was this one girl in there, we're gonna call her Rose. So Rose was kind of like by herself. So we were like, hey, you want to come to lunch with us or whatever? She was like, yeah, that's cool. So she knew her way around. She was, you know, from there. So we was like, okay, like, where do we go? Because we're not from here. So we ended up going to the mall, grabbing lunch, and we went a little ways out. So we were a little late coming back. So when we came back, this other, I don't know if they were a couple or not, but it was a guy and a girl, and they were late. The teacher said something to them, and he pointed out us, but instead of him saying me and Teddy, he pointed out Rose, and he was like, you ain't say nothing about Rose. He or she, whatever it is, was late, and basically was saying that Rose looked like a man, and was like, you know, it was late or something like that. So my fiance at the time, Teddy, was like, that's not cool. Like, we was like, she's cool, like, you're not about to do that. So he said something to him. Teddy said something to the dude taking up for Rose. And I said something. I'm like, well, mind y'all business, first of all. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, and that's rude. Clearly, she's a woman. Like, you can see she's a girl. Like, don't do that. So then the dude says to me, like, mind your business, B. Whoa! He shouldn't have said that. He shouldn't have said that, y'all. All I know is Teddy grew wings and flew across the room. Okay? Flew across the room. Flew across the room, landed on the boy's neck, had him in a serious chokehold, Lord Jesus. And yeah, it was a mess. Everybody's stuff was flying everywhere. Chairs were flying everywhere. No one understood, like, why is this dude going so hard for me? They didn't know we were in a relationship, you know. Oh my God, y'all, it was a hot mess. And I was like, oh my. So me and the girl about to get into it, and I'm like, girl, you don't want it. Like, you don't. Because when I tell y'all, back in the day, your girl was ready to throw down at the drop of a dime. Like, I was the one friend that you can call to be ready for fight. Like, you want to fight who? Okay, let's go. So I was like, you don't want it, blah blah. Like, we were so built up with anger and frustration, y'all, from just like kind of being displaced and like all over the place and not really knowing anybody there, not knowing the ways of the world there, and going through what we were going through so far. So we were very, very frustrated. And so we just unleashed on them, and clearly we lost our job, right? Okay, we got fired. We got fired, y'all. I think that was like the third day of class. And so we knew we had to move out of this house that we were just renting because we no longer were going to have the rent money. So yeah, we had to get out of there. And I had Rose's number. She was like, call me or whatever. And like, she felt bad because she knew that we were just taking up for her. She didn't say nothing in her defense the whole entire time, and that's okay. It just was her personality. But, you know, like I said, we had a lot of aggression and stuff built up, so we took up for her shit. So she was like, call me or whatever. So I ended up calling her, and we were just talking about what happened, and she was just so apologetic. She was like, I'm so sorry, because she kind of knew our story from like going to lunch and us telling her what was what. So I was like, it's okay, you know, it just sucks because now we gotta figure out where we're gonna live, and like we gotta find a job. It's just a lot. We don't have nobody here, blah blah blah. So she was like, y'all can come live with me. And I was like, wow, I really appreciate that. So we ended up moving in. She had a 1-bedroom apartment. We ended up staying on her couch. And then Teddy was playing football, and one of his football mates was like, yo, you can come stay with me. And I was like, okay. So it broke us, it made us live separately, but we knew that it was a sacrifice that we had to do, and we were living with other people. And so obviously, you know, he was in a relationship, he was married, and it was just easier for them to take him, Teddy, and then it was easier for Rose to just take me in because we were like this, like everywhere together, hanging out, like we were two peas in the pod. You saw her, you saw me, you saw me, you saw her. So it just worked. And then y'all know me and Teddy moved down on shaky grounds anyway, so the break was nice. There were times where I was like, this sucks, because his living situation that he was in was far more better than ours. We were on the struggle bus, but it worked out. And we ended up just making it work, and you know, eventually I ended up getting another job, and I got an apartment. We moved in, and we were in there for about a few months, and then Teddy caught flight when rent was due, okay, for some type of event with his family. And I thought that was so irresponsible because he didn't pay his portion of the bills and caught flight, and a one-way at that, because that's all he had the money for at the time, and was under the assumption that he would have a place to come back to. Like, that's not how it works. If you didn't pay your bills to leave, then you damn sure don't have a place to come back to. So I kind of was just like left down there to fend for myself, and that is where all the shenanigans and the ish began, y'all. And we're gonna go ahead and taper that into story time number 2, coming up, when I got a job and stole the vehicle from my job. She did that. So y'all stay tuned for that story time. You know, we're just warming up, y'all. Just warming up. So this wasn't that juicy, but we're just warming up. We gotta get y'all. We gotta go through this in sequence, okay? In order. So don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell notification so you don't miss story time number 2. When I stole the car from my job, the company vehicle, y'all. I did, and drove out of town with it. Okay, we'll talk about that. See y'all in the next one. Bye.